Okay guys, well I am going to do an upgrade on one of my own reels. Upgrade the bearings, so I thought at least just let you guys see this real quick. Just going to use some bearings that I have on hand. By Hogtech bearings. I had tried these out at one point. They're okay, they're not bad. They are ceramic bearings. I think they're ABEC 7s or 9s. I'm not sure. Can't remember. In any case, here we'll get started. Alright, to start off with, this is the reel that we're going to be working on. It's a Daiwa Tatula CT 7.3. This reel is brand new, never been used. Spool, you should be able to hear that knock back and forth, so it's set to have just a little bit of knock. Brakes are at 0. Back to drag up just a little bit. And I'm going to switch these bearings because it seems like this spool's just a little slow to me. It should peter out a little longer than that. So, anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So, first bearing is spool bearing that we can get to easily is underneath this side plate. Daiwa's side plate might be a little harder to get into, but it's very secure, so I kind of like that, and they're all basically the same, so not to mention when you work on it, the whole side plate comes off like that, and it just makes it easier to work on. So let's see here. Work with this bearing here. You got to get the little clip off without it flying all over the place. There's that little clip, if you guys can see it. Bearings in there. Lots of times it'll just come out, but I like being a little more careful with it. This little tool just to get the bearing out. And that bearing looks pretty overloaded with grease. Right off the bat, if I just flush these bearings, I would probably see a significant difference in the free spool. It'd probably free spool a lot better and cast a lot better just from doing that. But since I have these ceramic bearings on hand, and I've kind of been talking to some guys about upgrading bearings on reels, I just thought I'd go ahead and do that on my own here today. So, just here's the new bearing. Generally, Hogtech does not put any oil. They say to run the bearings dry, which is fine, but it means that they'll be a little loud, so I just go ahead and add 1 drop of oil anyway. I don't like my reels to be quite that loud. Get that little clip back in there. There we go. Side plate is done. That bearing is done and replaced. Well, for this one, just got to pull the spool there. Nothing to do with that there. There's no bearing on the spool in this reel. The bearing is underneath the cast control knob, but it's actually, you have to get at it in a Daiwa. At least most of the Tatula CTs. I think all the more current Daiwas right now, you have to actually take the handle side plate off to get to it. So that's what we'll do. When you're doing like quick maintenance on your reels, and you need to put some oil on the spool bearing, you can get some oil on it just from the outside through here if you want to, and it's usually adequate. So you can do it that way. Let's see here. Should be just these three. You guys might notice that when I work on reels, I always have this cloth down. It's kind of to keep stuff from flying around too far. I just kind of try to keep it clean so it doesn't have lint or dog hair, or in my case, dog hair and stuff on it. Put it away after I get done using it every time. Sometimes I don't want to come out right now, so I'll just unscrew the other one and the whole thing will come off. There we go. And then there's all the internals, gears and pinion gear and everything, pinion yoke and all that stuff for the Daiwa Tatula CT. Don't have to mess with any of that though, so I'll just set that to the side. What I need is to get in here. I don't want to lose this screw, so I'm going to take it out. Alright, so here's the bearing is underneath this little clip here, and this one can be a little bit harder to get out, so just kind of use a little small screwdriver again, and I'll try to find one edge that kind of I can get it under, and these ones can kind of fly around you too. And there you go. If you can't get it off just one edge, then you have to go to another edge, and then if you pry two edges, it should come off. So that's what that one looks like. You bend it a little bit to get it out, and then just flatten it again before I put it back in. Alright, so there, it's ready to go back in. And then there's the bearing in there that we're going to replace. That one's gone. We got our new bearing here. Add a drop of oil again. Back in here. Grab the little clip. Throw it back on top of there. Press it down so it kind of seats itself back in there again. Daiwa is the only one that uses this type of clip, so at least that I found so far. And it's fine. I mean, there's no problem with them or anything like that, really. But just thought I'd mention that. And it looks like it's good to go. Always want to make sure it's all the way in there. All right. Now, what'll usually happen now is I gotta put it back on, but what'll happen is what I was saying was that invariably this gear shaft collar will slide off. It'll be stuck in there and it'll come off. And then there's also a bearing in here that'll need to go back on there, so you just got to keep track of those things. So in any case, we put it back on. Gear shaft collar goes back on. Rotates into place like that. Put the side plate back on. Make sure the springs, the yoke springs, don't go all over the place. There she goes. And go ahead and get these screws back in. Go. The cast control knob back on. Make sure it doesn't get cross-threaded. It's a part that's really easy to cross-thread. Go. Bearing goes back over the shaft like that. And there we go. Just got to put everything else back together. Spring. Drag star. There's that. Spool back in there. The side plank back on. The brake side plate, non-handle side plate, whatever you want to call it. Just do this with your thumb is the easiest way I found to do it. Then when you get to the end, you need a screwdriver or a screw or something like this little Shimano tool that used to come with the Shimanos. Tighten it up. There. Technically should put the cap back on with the handle. Alright, and if we did everything right, then hopefully you see a little improvement. Yep. It's definitely freer. It'll keep freeing up more and more as it keeps going. As the oil works its way all the way around and gets even. But you can see an improvement already, guys. And it'll be a lot more durable than the ones that come stock. So, in any case, that's it. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Really, it's like a 5-minute process when I don't have to talk to the camera and everything. So, if you want to maybe get some spool bearings upgraded, certainly something you can do yourself, but if you don't trust yourself to do that, just let me know. Thanks.